Then Harsh, I can't still see your webcam on. Sure. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm P. Shravan Kumar, the founder of SK Associates and Group, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to our conference 3.1, where we'll explore the topic the role of government in fostering entrepreneurship. We are honored to have a panel of accomplished CEOs, founders, co founders, industry leaders, startup mentors, and academicians as our guest speakers. By the end of this conference, we hope you will gain valuable insights into this crucial area.
Hello everyone, I'm Anjali Singh, the head of Strategic Partnerships at SK Associates and Group, and it's my pleasure to co-host this conference with Shab.
Before we delve into our topic for today, let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. SK Associates and Group is an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital, strategy, and operations. Our passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bring their dreams to life and contribute to global economic growth.
At SK Associates and Group, we take pride in offering tailor-made solutions to our clients. Our team of transformational consultants has a deep-rooted passion for entrepreneurship and they bring extensive experience and expertise to every project. Over the past 3 years, we have built a network of 5,000 individuals from 30 plus countries, representing diverse universities, industries, and functional roles.
Our ultimate goal is to assist 600 million students in India by providing pro bono consulting services in areas such as strategy, operations, human capital, compliance, legal advisory, research and development, taxation, and marketing. We also plan to invest 500 crores US dollars in this startup by 2035, creating more than 5,000 employment opportunities for startup experts, advisors, mentors, and research scholars. Our vision is to contribute to global economic growth by empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Collaboration and strategic alliances are key to achieving our mission. We are committed to promoting entrepreneurship development and community impact with a focus on empowering students for global economic growth. Our aim is to partner with 1,000 plus universities and colleges by 2030, providing guidance and mentorship to students as they embark on their startup journeys.
The enthusiasm and interest we see among students for entrepreneurship is truly inspiring and genuine. Startups have the potential to address critical social, socio-economical, and geopolitical challenges through innovative business models. By promoting sustainable entrepreneurship, we can drive positive change and create a brighter future for all. Entrepreneurs not only generate job opportunities but also stimulate economic growth, offering innovative solutions to consumer needs and foster collaborations with other businesses. We have witnessed remarkable success stories where entrepreneurs have tackled issues like climate change, waste management, education, and many more.
Absolutely. Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transform lives, and make the world a better place. We are committed to supporting student entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and networks they need to succeed.
Rightly said, Ajay. At SK Association Group, we are immensely grateful for the dedicated support of our executive management team, including Ms. Anjali Singh, Ms. Vaishali Shri, Ms. Aditi Jain, and Mr. Digvijay Pawar. The unwavering commitment has played a pivotal role in our growth and development. Thanks to the dedication, we can make a meaningful impact on the entrepreneurial ecosystem by inspiring, educating, and mentoring young individuals, encouraging them to pursue entrepreneurship instead of a casual corporate career. And now, before we dive into our discussions, let's take a moment to introduce our esteemed lineup of speakers and tap into the wealth of wisdom they bring to the table. Just
Our
before
first
we
speaker
begin,
of the day, yeah, sure, okay. Our first speaker of the day is Dr. Vishal Gandhi, the founder and CEO of Byrex Venture Advisors Private Limited. His extensive experience in deal making, angel investments, mentorship, and strategic advisory has made him a prominent figure in the healthcare investment and entrepreneurship landscape. Dr. Gandhi has successfully guided numerous companies into the Indian market during his 24-year career. His academic background, including a PhD in strategy, finance, and innovation management, and MBA and MBA from XLRI and specialized executive education from Columbia Business School has prepared him for his role as an intervention mentor and industry advocate. His recent appointment as a cross-border associate M&A advisor further solidifies his global impact in the field.
Our next speaker for the day is none other than Professor Dr. Hon Sharma, who is an accomplished academician and visionary administrator with approximately 24 plus years of expertise in strategic planning, policy formulation, accreditation, and rankings, learning and assessment, industry collaboration, research and innovation, teaching, and the implementation of outcome based education and choice based credit systems. He is a proven expert in implementing the new education policy 2020 and is acclaimed for his proficiency by organizations such as NAAC, NBA, NIRF, and ACBSP, amongst others. Dr. Sharma has demonstrated a remarkable ability to integrate corporate and academic experiences to introduce innovative approaches to educational leadership, effectively bringing the industry academia gap. A frequent speaker at prestigious platforms, he has been honored with the prestigious Indian Achievers Award 2022 for excellence in education, Rashtriya Shiksha Ratna Samman 2022, recognizing his outstanding contributions to the field of education.
Next up, we have Mr. Mittu Tigi. As a prominent figure in the startup ecosystem, he brings over 7 years of expertise in nurturing startups and contributing to their growth strategies in India. Passionate about fostering responsible entrepreneurship, Mr. Mittu has held leadership positions including CEO at AICII IIITK, Director at Mostra, and State Chapter Lead at Head Start Network Foundation. With a background spanning over 10 years of corporate communication, including roles as graphic designer, digital media marketer, and brand strategy consultant, he is also an advocate for innovative approaches to solving complex marketing challenges and building resilient brand identities. Additionally, as a visiting faculty at XIME Kochi and a participant in the transformative Jagriti Yatra, he also shares insights and knowledge to inspire and educate future leaders in the entrepreneurial and digital marketing spheres, making him a valued speaker and thought leader in the fields of startup ecosystem enablement, growth strategy, digital marketing, and design.
And our final speaker for the day is none other than Mr. Akshay Banda. As an entrepreneur, Akshay has successfully founded and led two disruptive companies, generating over 10 crores plus of revenues within 12 months of launching a business in smart wearables. His passion for identifying unmet market needs and innovative solutions has been instrumental in driving customer satisfaction and business success. With a background in computer engineering and an MBA, Mr. Akshay brings over unique perspective to the convergence of technology and business. Over 7 years of experience across diverse domains have solidified his track record in driving innovation, solving complex problems, and delivering tangible results. Throughout his career, he has leveraged his technical expertise to lead cross functional teams and spearhead the development of cutting edge solutions that cater to the needs of customers and stakeholders alike. Whether it involves crafting a new software platform, whether it involves streamlining production processes, or whether it involves introducing a new product line, he always remains dedicated to delivering value to technological innovation.
Welcome everyone, and it's an honor to have you all with us. Your expertise adds a special dimension to our conference, making it unique and insightful gathering. So now, before we begin, we would request all of you to switch on your respective webcams. We'd also like to inform you that our HR team will be conducting polls in the chat box throughout the conference, and we encourage your active participation there. Moving ahead, I would request Mr. Mittu and Mr. Mittu to commence his speech. Uh, Mr. Tigi?
Yes. This is my session.
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking it was at 8 o'clock. Sorry. Um, Hello, everyone. Glad to be part of this wonderful initiative. I'm sure what we are going to discuss will add a lot of value to everybody who is part of this program. Um, so, uh, the key topic that we have for today is the role of governments in fostering entrepreneurship in our respective ecosystems. So I want to throw some light on what has happened in India over the last 10 years and how government has played a key role at a local ecosystem and as well as a national ecosystem. So if you go back about 10 years, probably around 2012, the number of recognized startups would be under 1,000, right? Today, 10 years later, we have more than 100,000 startups in India. There is a national registry for startups called Startup India portal, which has recognized almost, I think the count today is somewhere at 117,000 startups and counting. Probably in 2012, we had less than 10 unicorns. Today, we have it more than 111. If I'm not wrong, yesterday we had one more unicorn being formed by a latest round of investments. So the ecosystem has almost grown 1,000% over the last 10 years. And this could not have happened without the involvement of government. So just to give you a perspective from where I come from the southern state of India called Kerala. And one of the first state startup policies was established by the Kerala government in 2014. This was, I think, few months before even the Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, where we have Karnataka, even before the state of Karnataka establishing a policy. And that policy brought in a lot of change. Some of you might have heard of initiatives like Startup Village, which later on transformed to become the Kerala Startup Mission. So all of these happened through those policies. Today, I just want to highlight some of these policies by the Kerala government. So one of the very interesting policies that they have brought out is the state government departments, they can acquire software services, they can acquire any sort of services that are offered by the startups up to a value of 3 crores. This initially started off with a 5 lakh limit, then it went on to 10, 20, 25, and 3 crores right now, which means a lot of startups, if they want to service governments, if they want to be in the B2G space, they can actually do that without having to spend a lot of money on earnest money deposit or a lot of effort on capturing tender and other things, which is normally the way that you could work with governments. And if you're not a registered startup, if that policy didn't exist, then most of these projects would go and they would have limitations like you need to have a turnover of 10 crores or 5 crores, 5 years of operation and all these things, which a startup will never have. So that's the one policy that changed how startups can work with very big organizations like government departments. And once that happens, it's a big name for a startup and big validation for startups to work with other organizations also. Another policy that the government of Kerala has brought in is the concept of an innovation grant. So today, any startup with an idea can avail a grant of 3 lakh rupees from the state government under the Kerala Startup Mission activities, up to 15 lakhs for scaling up, which is a considerable good amount of money. And I think more than 100 startups have been supported through this scheme over the last 4 to 5 years. So now these are some perspectives I wanted to throw around what a local government, state government can do. While when the national government in 2014, when they decided that we need to bring about change in the startup ecosystem, and so was born the Startup India scheme. So today, after Startup India, we have Atal Innovation Mission, which is powered under the Niti Aayog of India. Niti Aayog is the think tank or the planning commission of India today, and they have brought in the Atal Innovation Mission, looking at technology innovation and entrepreneurship at a holistic scale. So I am part of Atal Innovation Mission. I lead the incubator at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Kottayam, where we have an Atal Incubation Center. We are funded by Niti Aayog for this project. So we run one of the Atal Incubation Centers in India. Today, India has 100 such Atal Incubation Centers, which has been established over the last 5 years. This is a 1,000 crore project. There is probably more than 10,000 startups that have been supported directly through the AICs alone. This is one of the initiatives by the government of India. Of course, Startup India has went on to create Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, wherein startups can get up to 20 lakh grant and up to 50 lakh in equity and up to 70 lakh in loan from the Startup India program. That has helped again at least 1,000 plus startups over the last 3 to 4 years. So these are some schemes by the central government today that is in existence, and this has spearheaded the demand and support for startups from all corners. Of course, the community and the pop culture also is enabling that. You have things like Shark Tank happening in India, the word startup becoming a very homely term. Of course, those efforts by a lot of people, like the communities, programs, initiatives, are also enabling. But this have been supported heavily by the government in terms of funding, in terms of support mechanisms like creating incubators, creating accelerator programs. So all of this together today has enabled the startup ecosystem to go from that 1,000 odd startups in 2012 to about 100,000 startups in 2023. That's a massive growth that has happened, both in terms of investment, both in terms of number of startups. And if I look at all departments of the central government today, Ministry of Electronics and IT have a specific program for startups. Department of Science and Technology runs specific programs of startups, directly supporting startups, directly working with incubators. So all departments under the government is today looking at startups as a core segment. And one of the predictions is that startups alone would contribute to $1 trillion into the Indian economy by 2030, wherein India is looking at to become a 5 trillion economy. 1 trillion of that, which is 25% of the Indian GDP, is going to be contributed by startups. So that's the importance of startups, and this has happened through the government involvement. You have various schemes for each specific technological innovation. You have a quantum mission, which looks at quantum computing. You have a semiconductor mission, which is looking at manufacturing of semiconductors and technologies around that. Ministry of Electronics and IT runs a program called Bhashini, which is to support local innovations in local languages. So you look at any of these, even today, I think MITI is coming up with a program for AI, artificial intelligence. It's going to be called as AI Mission. So all of this is the way that the government is fostering a culture of innovation and technological advancement. And I would urge all the youngsters out there to take benefit of these schemes, these support mechanisms that's in existence, work with incubators, work with the and identify these schemes that would work for your startup, depending upon which sector you're coming from, and take the maximum benefit and be part of the India story that's going to come out in the next 5 to 6 years. It's already being written. The question is whether you'll be part of it or not. Thank you all for having me. It was a pleasure interacting with you. I think if you want to take some questions, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, thank you for the speech, Mittu, firstly. Now, I had a small question. Since you just mentioned that we had a new addition to a unicorn startup, and most of our audience here are young entrepreneurs who yet are new to the world of startups, could you just introduce the process to them, like how is a startup classified as a unicorn?
Sure, I can do that. So, of course, see, in the real world of business, um, having that status of unicorn actually doesn't mean a lot of things. Because see, what you have to understand is how the what is the definition of unicorn. Let me come to what the definition of unicorn is. So, if a startup is valued at more than 1 billion US dollars, you can call that as a unicorn, right? So how does valuation work? In very simple max, let's say you're starting a company, a startup, and I am investing 1 lakh rupees in your startup for 1% of your equity, right? So the valuation of your startup will become 100 lakhs. So 1% for 1 lakh means for buying 100% of your company, I need to spend 100 lakhs. So you are valued at 1 crore. So the same way, if I can invest 100 crores in your company for 10% equity, naturally you will become a 1,000 crore company. That's it. So valuation is a paper game. It's nothing. It's not money in the account. It's not the wealth of the company. It's not that. It is very similar to market capitalization, like you have for the publicly listed companies. So startups call it valuation. Once you are listed on the stock market, it would become market capitalization. So this is what a unicorn is. So how the progress happens is that a startup initially would have funding in called seed funding, which would be very small amounts under 1 crore rupees. And once you have that seed funding, you would start building your product. You would launch your product into the market. You would start trying to get your first stage of customers, and you start showing that growth to investors. So once you see that growth for investors, there would be more investors who would be willing to bet on you and give you money and be part of your growth story. So when that happens, let's say the next round you take a 5 crore or 10 crore round of investment at a higher valuation this time, you would substantially get a lot of money for your growth marketing activities, for your scaling up activities, for hiring experts, building larger products, or expanding your startup to larger markets. So this process can keep continuing. So this will be called a series A, then you next round will be called a series B, and most startups after a series F or G would reach that stage where they can be valued as a unicorn. So unicorn again is just, as I said, is a valuation. It's not the money in account. It's not that they actually get $1 billion money in the account. It's just that maybe for a small percentage of their equity, there's a large sum of money being acquired, and that conversion of percentage is equal to the valuation. I hope that kind of clears the confusion about
Yeah,
that.
that does, Mittu. Apart from that, Mittu, I had a second question. Since you have been working at IIT Key with the incubation cell, I believe. So, would you have any advice for a young entrepreneur sitting, like, as per your experience, the areas where they make the most mistakes and they could obviously avoid it?
Sure, I can let me bullet point this to 2 or 3 points. So one of the first things a lot of early first-time founders make is they are very passionate about their idea, which is a good thing, because that passion will get them through the journey and the struggles. But being too overly attached to your idea, what happens is you do not have an objective approach to the idea, right? Idea might be yours. You might have come up with something very brilliant. You might be so fascinated with your brain, but the reality is, if there are no customers for your business idea, then you're not going to scale your business. An idea is just that. So the idea needs to be objectively validated. You need to see if you have customers. You need to see if this is a very small market size problem. Like if how many people are ready to buy from you? Are they willing to pay for this? Is there a large enough market that you can scale this? If only 100 people in India is facing this problem, you can only probably sell it to 50 people at the most, right? So no investor will touch you if the market size is very small. You will not make enough money to scale up. You will not make enough money to sustain your personal life also. So the problem needs to be validated very properly before you jump into the whole startup bandwagon. So validating the problem. Second thing I see, this is especially something I see with people who are skill based or who are technology founders, like wherein they have some sort of technological upper hand. They end building this product over and over and over again because they're never satisfied. Engineers creators, they're never satisfied with the product that they build. So they build a version 1, then they will feel, oh, okay, these features are not that great, so I'll build another feature, I'll build another feature. So they'll keep on building and building without selling the product. So there is no brownie points for building the most complex web application or a mobile application or anything, right? Unless people are buying from you, nobody values your startup. So don't build continuously for 2 or 3 years. Build like a minimum viable product that the market might need, ship it out, start selling, launch your product, launch your service. Then your customers will start talking to you what they want, and that will be the most biggest feedback that you can get. And then you can keep building based on what feedback you get from the customers. But those feedback are not your assumptions, they're real feedback from the market. So the second point is, don't over engineer, don't overbuild. Build, ship, get feedback, and rebuild and go process again. This is commonly referred to as the lean startup model. If you want, you can Google it. It's called the lean startup model. Um, the third thing I would suggest is, it is better to fail fast than fail later. Okay, so the concept of a startup is, this is a temporary organization to identify a proper business model that you can scale up, right? It is not the end of the journey. So you have an idea, you launch it into the market. If customers are not buying it, if you're feeling that there is no traction, if you're not seeing this becoming $1 million company, and if that's your aim to do it, that's not happening, it's better you close down. And this is again coming back to having that objective approach towards business. Passion is good, but you also need to have that objective approach. So these are 2 or 3 common fail points I see with early stage founders, mostly first time founders. Second time founders don't make these mistakes because they either have learned it in their first venture, or probably they have failed in their first venture, so they won't make it the second time. But first time founders, most commonly, I kind of see this with them.
Okay, that was a great response. I would now invite all the audience to put forth their questions, if any. You must simply raise your hands, unmute yourself, and speak out your queries. Yeah. Even fellow speakers may unmute themselves and ask any questions if you have. I hope nobody is introvertistic here. Like, in case you are, you can just type out your query. Yeah, we have a question from Advocate Muhammad Arif Kopkar. Arif ji, you may ask your question. Ja, Arif ji, you are on mute. If you may unmute yourself and ask your question. Zitrav Academy of Dance has a question. You may unmute yourself.
I think you're on mute.
You're not audible. And she's unmuted, but no problem. If you can just check your mic once, because they're not audible this side. Okay. No, we're not still audible. Why don't you just type out a query in the chat box so we can read that? Okay, that works. Excellent. Till then, if anyone else has any queries, please. Sharmila, Virendra, Ayushi, anyone? You may simply unmute yourself and ask. Yeah. I'll take it as no queries then. Zitra Academy of Dance, if you could just type out your query a bit faster. So, till then, nobody, any questions yet? Near the HR team provides a poll for us. I request all the participants to kindly put forth the responses. We have the question, Mrithuj.
So she's asking where I can find info about about how government in India is fostering entrepreneurship. So yes, this is a very difficult. This is very difficult because this is not happening under one department. So for all purposes and usages, I can refer few main organizations that are supporting. So the first would be Startup India. So Startup India website would have a lot of information about startups, about programs that are happening in the startup ecosystem. Also will have list of a lot of incubators, mentors. All the registered startups will also be listed on the Startup India website. Anyone can actually, if anyone who is experienced and they want to share their story and share their insights with startups, they can also register themselves as a mentor. That's also possible. You can be a mentor at Startup India. um, and this is one website you can definitely look at. If you want to look at the Atal Innovation Mission ecosystem, so I would call it the AIM ecosystem, AIM, Atal Innovation Mission. So again, you can Google Atal Innovation Mission and you would get details about all the incubators that are coming under Atal Innovation Mission. There is close to 150 incubators under this. This is categorized into Atal Incubation Centers called AIC, and there is also Atal Community Innovation Center called ACIC. These are the two type of incubators that you would see. And AIM also has a very strong network of innovation centers in schools. So this would be the K-12 segment, and this is called the Atal Tinkering Labs. So these are labs that young students under the 12th grade can play around with things like robotics, communications, electronics, and various other things, make small projects, etc. So there is more than 10,000 schools that come under the Atal Tinkering Labs ecosystem. So that is also something, if anyone is interested, can explore. But that's mostly for school students. That's less focused on entrepreneurship, more focused on innovation. So Atal Innovation Mission itself is an ecosystem that you can follow. Startup India would have all other details. Now, few other major departments that run programs. One is the Department of Science and Technology. It's called the Department of Science and Technology, India. So every state government also has a Department of Science and Technology, but I am referring to the DST of Government of India. So DST has been running various supportive programs for the last 30 years in India, especially supporting incubation, technology, commercialization, and a lot of these programs. So DST is one of the major departments. This is the third one. The fourth, I would today say, Ministry of Electronics and IT in India, again a central government ministry. They are also doing a lot of activities by funding startups, supporting startups. A lot of the programs that I mentioned, like the AI mission, Bhashani, which is for vernacular languages, quantum mission, a lot of these things are coming under the Ministry of Electronics and IT directly. So Ministry of IT also has something called a startup hub. So it is called a MEITY startup hub, MEITY startup hub. So they have, that's a separate division entirely. They have a separate social media presence. They do everything separately from the ministry. So that's also the fourth thing that you can look at. If you're specifically focused on biotechnology, anything in the bio space, BIRAC is an organization that you can look at. BIRAC, BIRAC is an organization that you can look at. So all these informations are not consolidated at any one place. You will have to go to these 4 or 5 different websites and the best way to do is, I would say, follow their LinkedIn pages. They will keep updating all the updates whenever there's a program being announced, whenever there is any funding schemes being announced. All of it will be updated there, and that would be a good way to follow the major developments in the ecosystem. Of course, if you're more interested in the Indian ecosystem, there is various other organizations that work in like I'm part of Head Start Network Foundation. It's a community organization that's working for 17 years in India. So you can follow Head Start on LinkedIn. Um, yeah, I'll do one thing. I'll try to put these websites on the chat also, if that helps.
Sure, sure, sure.
So like after like when you're going ahead with the other talks, I can put these websites on chat.
Sure. That was a great speech. Anyone else has any queries? We proceed to the next speaker. Pragya Tiwari. Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, Pragya.
Oh. Yeah, sir, you talked about the funding given by the government for the startups. I read somewhere that the startups who do the innovation, government give them some incentive. So, is the funding and incentive same, or there is some difference between it?
Um, so incentives can mean a lot of things. Funding is specifically when there's a money being given. So one of the incentives is that if you're registered under Startup India, you will get a number called a DIPP number, which is like a number that's allocated to a particular startup. So once you have got that number, you can apply for something called an ATIAC, which is an income tax exemption for the first 3 years of a startup. So you don't have to pay any income tax if you get that exemption. Just because you get the Startup India registration doesn't mean you get the exemption. You have to separately apply for this. Also, there is a provision that you can apply for angel tax exception also under the Startup India program. All of these details you can see under the Startup India website. So that these are two incentives that you could get. Another thing that you could look at is you could get incentives like access to mentors. So Startup India has a portal for Mentor Connect. So you could look at getting access to mentors. So these are all subsidiary incentives, but funding would mostly be the biggest thing that startups are always looking for.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay,
I hope there
thank
are no
you.
more questions here. Fine. Thank you, Mittu, for amazing speech and your insights. Actually, I
Thank you.
too loved being a part, and thank you for the speech. And obviously, do share your email address and the mentioned sites in the chat box for our audience, so that if anyone has any question, they can straight away reach out to you.
Definitely, I'll
As
add this.
we move on, I would like to further invite Mr. Akshay Banda to share his insights with us.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just let me turn on my camera. Yeah. Uh, Hello. Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me, making me part of this panel. Uh, okay, so like today, I'm thrilled to share insights into how Government of India is catalyzing a transformative journey towards becoming a nation of vibrant startups and groundbreaking innovations. I will focus on four pivotal areas today. One is the policy framework for startups, digital India and technology adoption, innovation and research, and incubation and accelerator programs. So, firstly, talking about the policy framework for startups, in 2016, Government of India embarked a groundbreaking mission with the launch of Startup India initiative. This initiative aimed to fortify the startup ecosystem by simplifying the business registration process, providing easier patent filing, offering tax exemptions for 3 years, and facilitating funding opportunities. A significant milestone under this initiative is establishment of fund of funds with a corpus of 10,000 crores to ensure startups have access to necessary financial support. The initiative also streamlined the procurement process for startups, allowing them to sell sell to the government more easily, thus opening new avenues for growth. Additionally, the policy introduces tax benefits for investors and startups, encouraging more investment flow in the startup ecosystem. So that these were the few policy frameworks for startups that Government of India has taken initiative on. Next, I would like to talk about Digital India and technology adoption. So, parallel to the Startup India initiative, the Digital India campaign represents a comprehensive agenda for transforming the entire nation into a digitally empowered society. This vision encompasses three components. Firstly, the development of secure and stable digital infrastructure. Second, delivering the government services digitally. Uh, and third is universal digital literacy. Now, Digital India has been a pivotal in promoting tech entrepreneurship, spec- especially through the BharatNet project, aiming to connect rural areas with high-speed internet. It has democratized access to digital services, making it possible for startups in fintech, e-commerce, edtech to reach previously untapped market. Next, talking about innovation and research and development. So, recognizing the critical role of innovation and R&D is in sustaining economic growth and competitiveness, the government has launched several schemes and incentives. The Atal Innovation Mission and the establishment of Atal Tinkering Labs in school across the country aim to foster a culture of innovation and entrepreneurial spirit from a young age. Additionally, the government's support for R&D activities through tax incentives for companies engaged in research and establishment of research parks in collaboration with educational institutes creates a symbiotic environment where academic and industry can collaborate on pioneering research projects. Lastly, talking about incubation and accelerator programs. So, to nurture early stage startups and help them scale, the government has heavily invested in setting up incubators and accelerators across the country. These platforms provide startups with essential resources such as mentorship, office space, access to networks of investors and industry experts. Notably, the establishment of Atal Incubation Centers under the Atal Innovation Mission provides a robust support system for startups, focusing on sectors like healthcare, technology, and clean energy. These incubators are instrumental in bridging the gap between ideas and execution, ensuring startups have a fighting chance to succeed in competitive markets. In wrapping up, the Government of India's multifaceted approach towards fostering entrepreneurship and innovation is commendable. Through policy reforms, digital empowerment, support for innovation in R&D, and nurturing incubation ecosystems, India is steadily on its path to becoming a global startup powerhouse. As stakeholders in this ecosystem, it is imperative for us to leverage these opportunities, collaborate, and drive forward with vision of transforming India into an innovation-led economy. Thank you. I'm open to questions.
If you don't mind it, Akshay, the first question is mine. Since you have been an entrepreneur two times,
Yeah.
would you like to highlight some mistakes that you might have committed in your first entrepreneurial journey that you obviously improvise in the second?
Yes, definitely. So, in my first entrepreneurial journey, one of my biggest mistake was the pricing. I forgot to consider about the taxes, the other cost, and because of this, it was a one of a miserable thing. After a few months of starting, I realized, okay, now I also will have to pay taxes on the transactions. Then even I need to pay for a lot of other costs involved, and that was one of the biggest mistake. While building up the second, I was already aware of all these things, the pricing strategy, the operations, the marketing costs that will be incurred. So my second startup was quite successful, and we were able to generate break even within like eight months of starting up. And that was a high capital investment where I even took a funding from investor. And I think taking a funding is was necessary over there, and someone to trust me was also difficult because of my first journey. But yes, I did got a funding for that, and that went really well. And I exited after a year of starting that, and then I explored more on learning into entrepreneurship, and now I actually train first time entrepreneurs so that they don't make these mistakes, which I did in my first venture.
That's great. I was just going through your profile, Akshay, and I noticed that you have a computer science engineering degree along with your master's into business administration. So, just like enthusiastic from the perspective of enthusiastic commerce graduate, I have a small question. Like, what perks have you experienced in your entrepreneurial journey due to having a like advanced knowledge of the IT industry?
So the advantage for me having a tech and business knowledge was uh, so like every venture it requires a website nowadays, and to have a basic knowledge is necessary, like so that when you are asking any agency or any developer to make something for you, you are firstly aware of what you need. And again, having a business side of it, it really helped me in managing my finance operations and marketing. So I did my master's in finance, but I started my corporate career into marketing. So it gave me a knowledge of both the areas, which was quite advantage for me while running my business.
That's a great point to know. Any other questions from the audience? Any question? You can unmute yourself and ask. Pragya has a question.
Yeah, Pragya, please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that you spoke about the policies which government has made for the entrepreneurs. So, in practical terms, how easy it is for the entrepreneurs to get benefits of those policies, or do they get tangled in the bureaucratic red tape? Because we know that practically it is not so easy to, get the work done from the government offices. So, in this scenario, in the case of entrepreneurship, how different it is?
So definitely it's little bit bureaucratic over here also to get the policies, but if you have a right chartered accountant in place, I think it's much easy process to avail this benefits.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah, you may just raise your hands. No other questions here? Okay. Akshay, I had another question for you if you don't mind.
Yes,
Since
yes.
you are in the smart variables business,
Hmm.
obviously the amount of investment required for in various industries, sectors, and for various business model varies.
Yeah.
But on an average, what would be your rough table for any entrepreneur here who is interested into trading in the FMCG industry? Like what prerequisites would he or she need before walking out into this industry as a entrepreneur?
Okay. So when it comes to smart wearables, so I started in 2021. That time I required a fund of around 2 CR to just start the business, getting the manufacturing, the products imported, and building up the warehouse infrastructure, and setting up the team and delivery mechanism, and my tech marketing. But coming towards FMCG, like depending on which product segment you are entering, it's easy to start from somewhere around 10 lakhs and may go up to a 5 CR as a capital in the start, depending on what product you are launching and how you from what is the MOQ of that product.
Any other factors that actually do invest in like impact the investment rate and other factors?
Uh, so one of them is marketing. So when you start, I mean, if you have invested 10 lakhs in products, you have to always keep a 10 lakhs of buffer for marketing, because that is when initially you need the highest amount to reach out to the right audience. And again, if you have a network, it's a huge advantage, because when I started my second venture, I had a good network for a B2B sales. So that was what I leveraged apart from the online platforms.
Okay. That's again an interesting observation. Networks, the other one. However, I would like to invite the audience. If you have any questions, you may raise your hands and proceed. Pragya, you may lower your hand up. The turn is done, I believe. Harsh, Preksha, Pooja, Rima, Rishabh. No queries out here? Anyone? Yeah, that's it, I believe. Thank you, Mr. Banda, for your amazing speech, and obviously the insights you provided into your industry have been quite knowledgeable, because even I didn't have an idea of that specific industry. That's the reason I asked you all. And obviously to share your email address in the chat box, so if any of our audience has any questions or seeks further info, they will reach out to you directly.
Sure. Thank you.
My pleasure. So, as we conclude tonight's session, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our esteemed panelists for today for the invaluable contributions to the first part of Conference 3.1. I know we're all wondering where the rest two speakers are for today, but nonetheless, they have been into certain traffic jams and will be reaching out to you all tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Further moving ahead, the expertise and insights added by panelists today was extremely valuable and has added immense value to this event. A sincere appreciation also goes out to each and every attendee for your presence and engagement. We are excited to continue this conference tomorrow with more insights, innovations, and practical solutions. Contacts to join the conference. Do share the conference links with them, and if you are sharing your experience on LinkedIn, Insta, or FB, do not forget to tag us. Your engagement, inviting friends, and sharing your insights are highly appreciated. Thank you all once again for being a part of this session, and do have a great day. Thank you.